from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next hour. Donald Trump set to address celebrating supporters in Florida, grabbing 247 in the 2024 US presidential elections. Kamala Harris closes gap with 187. Republicans take control of the US Senate, grab at least 51 seats in the 100-member upper house of the Congress. Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu fires Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, appoints Israel's Katz in his place. The US says will work closely with the replacement. And Ukrainian troops engage with North Korean units for the first time in Russia. Zelensky says it opens page 2, instability and escalation. And we get you the latest on the US presidential polls first as the race for the White House nears the finish line. Donald Trump is set to address jubilant supporters after he notched key wins in the race for the White House. Millions of Americans anxiously wait at the Palm Beach County Convention Center event as Republicans grab 246 votes in the crucial 2024 US presidential elections. The counting, however, is still underway. To get a more clearer picture, according to Reuters, Harris stands at 187. And Trump at 246 for now. There are 538 electoral college votes allotted to the 50 states and the District of Columbia. It takes 270 votes to win. Donald Trump ahead so far in these trends, latest trends of the US elections. US media have thus far projected that Trump has been projected to win in 23 states, including big prizes, Texas and Ohio, key battleground states of North Carolina and other reliably Republican-leaning states. The outcome remained uncertain in 6 other swing states expected to determine the winner. Harris has so far captured 12 states, including big electoral vote prizes of California and New York, as well as the US capital of Washington, D.C. The magic number to win the presidency is 270. Observers expect that the hotly contested race for the White House will come down to a handful of key battleground states. No matter who wins, history will be made. Harris, the first female vice president, would become the first woman, black woman and South Asian American to win the presidency. Trump, the only president to be impeached twice and the first former president will be criminally convicted, would also become the first president to win non-consecutive terms in more than a century. Meanwhile, in an important news, Republicans have already won the US Senate majority after flipping Democratic seats in West Virginia and Ohio. With this, they have ended the 4 years of being in minority, providing a huge boost to the party in its quest to dominate every branch of the government. The victory means that the incoming president will get enormous support to enact their agenda and appoint justices to the powerful US Supreme Court if it is Donald Trump. But legislative deadlock of it is his Democratic rival Kamala Harris. And we are now joined by Prabhu Dayal, former Indian senior diplomat. He will give us more perspective on these on these US elections. Welcome, sir, to the program. So, who is getting to the White House? Luck favoring Trump as of now, or is it too close to call?
Well, Tanvi, first of all, it's nice to be on your show again. You know, it was said all along that it would be a very tight race. But it seems that Donald Trump is surging ahead. Of course, there could be some possibilities of things changing. But according to the Associated Press, he is either ahead in 247 seats or has already won most of them, while Kamala Harris's figure is 214. So it's 247 for Trump against 214. So he's closing the gap very rapidly with the required figure of 270. Now, very significantly, the swing states have gone the way of Donald Trump. They have all gone to Donald Trump. Look at it. Georgia, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin. These have either already been won by Donald Trump or he's leading quite substantially there. So there is no doubt that, in my mind at least, that he is marching towards that required figure of 270. So what has gone wrong for Kamala Harris? For one thing, the failure of the Biden administration on many counts is being reflected in her result. You know, a few weeks ago, she was asked by a television channel called The View whether there is anything that she would have done differently as compared to Biden. And she said, not a thing. In other words, she totally aligned herself with the policy of Biden and went on to say that she was directly involved in formulating and implementing all the policies of the Biden administration. So, if the public is not happy with the policies of the Biden administration, naturally, some of their anger and their disappointment will be taken out on her. Now, look at the major issues on which the public is not happy. Inflation. I was in the US a couple of months ago and I stayed there for 2 months. And I met a lot of people, and there was a general sense of disappointment with the government in regard to what was perceived as its failure to control price rise. If prices go up, they affect people all across society, all sections of society. And the items of daily necessity, they were all becoming more costly and people were not happy about it. Then, of course, there was this issue of housing, because alongside the rise in the cost of living, there was the hike in mortgage rates. And most Americans buy properties by taking mortgage. And therefore, it became very expensive for them to buy their own homes. There was a shortage of properties alongside. Of course, some of it was due to the fact that during the COVID era, construction had slowed down. But then, because there was a shortage of housing, because housing was becoming more expensive, people were trying to only rent properties. So there was a shortage of rentally available properties. So these two factors were considered quite important as regards the public perception of the failure of the Biden administration to ensure their well-being. Now, there was also this related aspect of illegal immigration. There were lots of illegal immigrants who were coming in, and several of these were being brought in by human traffickers. But what was happening was that many of the low-paid jobs were being snatched away by these illegal immigrants. And so, therefore, the lesser qualified people in America were not getting employment. They were not getting jobs. And they were naturally very disappointed. So you would notice that a substantial number of people who have come out in support of Donald Trump are people who belong to the semi-skilled or the unskilled category of white workers. They have residence permits. They are people who are entitled to stay there. They're legally there in the United States, but they are losing out to illegal immigrants. Now, incidentally, in many, many states of the America, there is this rule that the police can't stop people and check their their status regarding immigration. That's not allowed. The police generally doesn't do that. So there is a large illegal immigrant workforce, and naturally there is anger among certain sections of the less affluent society because they feel their jobs are going away. And then, there was another aspect which certainly was being perceived as a failure of the Biden administration, and that is foreign policy. Every American who I met who was from the salaried class or who was less affluent was grudging the fact that America was supplying billions of dollars of arms to Ukraine because they said, we are paying for it. Because after all, it's not the Democratic Party which was paying for the weapons supplies. The weapons were being paid for by the American taxpayer. So there was some unhappiness on this account that money which should go towards ensuring the welfare of the American people is being spent on the Ukraine-Russia war by sending arms to Ukraine. Now, Donald Trump had all along been saying that he will make sure that the war will end. Now, how will he make it end? First of all, Donald Trump has been not at all enthusiastic about NATO. In his first term, he had even threatened to pull out of NATO, and then he stayed on the condition that the NATO members pay their subscription, because he was not happy that America was really subsidizing NATO while the European countries were not paying their dues. So he had also been not at all happy that NATO was extending its boundaries to Ukraine. Donald Trump was not in favor of making Ukraine join NATO. So what he can do is, first of all, tell Ukraine we are going to stop weapons supplies. And secondly, talk to NATO and make them withdraw this entire campaign to get NATO, to get Ukraine in. So that will be a starting point. There will be a lot of further negotiation necessary regarding what happens to the Russian occupied territories, what happens to Crimea. But, diplomacy is all about what is possible. It's the art of the possible. And whatever best solution is possible will have to be arrived at. But in any case, the American taxpayer, by and large, is very clear that he doesn't want the war to continue, the Russia-Ukraine war, because it is being paid for to a great extent by America. America is subsidizing this war. America is paying for the cost of weaponry, and the taxpayer doesn't want it. So there are a number of factors on account of which the taxpayer had a grouse against the Biden administration. And when Kamala Harris said that there is nothing she would have done differently, naturally, some of the public anger got to be directed against her. Of course, there are other things too, like, for instance, tariffs. Donald Trump wants to raise tariffs on imported items. And in particular, he wants to hike tariffs on Chinese products. Now, that will certainly impact the price line, because once you raise tariffs on imported goods, then the prices of commodities go up, especially, of course, those which America is importing. And America is importing a whole range of consumable items. Then, of course, there are also issues like abortion, where the women were very happy with Kamala Harris's stand, but many men in America were thinking on the same lines as Donald Trump. They were supporting Donald Trump in regard to the sort of position he had adopted in regard to abortion. Donald Trump, during his campaigning, had not spoken against abortion, but he had said he will leave it to the states. But everybody remembers that during his first term, he had invited 3 judges to the US Supreme Court, and these 3 judges had voted against the Roe versus Wade judgment, and therefore made the entire policy towards abortion different. They had made abortion illegal. Now, women want abortion to be legalized and the old policy to be restored, but at the same time, the men who are not in favor of this rally behind Donald Trump. So it's been a very divisive issue. Then there are some other issues which are also important. Let me mention, for instance, that overall the question of weapons control within the United States, guns control. Now, Americans are very, very particular that their right, which is given to them under the Second Amendment, to hold arms to at any time, should not be snatched away. And there is a very big gun control lobby. And of course, that is a very financially well off lobby. They are the gun manufacturers, the gun traders. So they are totally opposed to this whole idea of gun control. But the matter has picked up a lot of attention in the media because of the number of cases of gun violence, of many mass slayings on account of the possession of guns by a whole lot of people, including minors who are able to get hold of these guns, which are otherwise owned by their parents. So there has been some concern about gun violence. But since this is a very divisive issue, and since the gun lobby in the United States is so powerful, therefore, trying to come down on the gun lobby, and Kamala Harris had said that she would try to ensure some degree of control on the ownership of guns. Of course, she also realizes that there is this amendment which she would have to challenge, the Second Amendment, which allows people to hold weapons. So these are very complicated issues, but certainly these have affected the popularity of Kamala Harris, and given the necessary push to Donald Trump's candidacy, as is very evident from the results which are coming through the media. I'm only accessing the media. I see that the Associated Press now shows 214 either having gone to Kamala Harris or sort of she leading in those states. But Donald Trump has 247. So he's pretty close to the victory margin. And this is on account of the fact that the Biden administration's policies have created a headwind which is working against Kamala Harris.
Okay, and at this stage, yes, Trump has broadly got more voter support than he did 4 years ago, because he has managed to take much of the Democratic support base. If we talk of states of Georgia, of course, and Pennsylvania also, Fox News is projecting that Trump is going to win Pennsylvania. So, of course, it's a win for the Republican team as far as flipping the Democrat votes are concerned.
Yes, of course it is. In the Senate also, they are doing very well in the elections. So they are poised to seize control of everything which controls the United States of America. But in particular, the defeat of Harris, which now seems very likely. I mean, I would be very surprised if she can pull it off from here. Donald Trump is marching ahead. And as I said earlier, his success in the swing states, and all the swing states seem to have gone for him, that has naturally taken things in his favor. And it reflects really on the fact that he has been able to highlight the things that the Biden administration has done wrong, while Kamala Harris has only aligned herself with the policies of the administration of which she was a part, and is being held responsible for some of the failures of that policy. So she is definitely going to pay the price of the weaknesses of the Biden administration. The Biden administration is not considered a very strong administration. Of course, in his debate against Donald Trump, Joe Biden came across rather poorly. And in fact, that is why he was persuaded to drop out. And then out of nowhere, Kamala Harris was pitchforked as the candidate to stand against Donald Trump. And her initial popularity was because she was seen as a great substitute for Joe Biden, because people were really heaving a sigh of relief that Joe Biden is out of the race and that they have somebody younger, and the more energetic who can be the Democratic Party's nominee. But when Kamala Harris very categorically said that there is nothing that she would have done differently as compared to Joe Biden, naturally, the public perception of her ability to change things for people, that was affected. And I think that explains why in the swing states she has not done well.
And the Republicans have reportedly won the control of the Senate. What are the implications of that for the presidential race?
You know, the Senate controls a number of things. Of course, it controls appointments. And this will facilitate Donald Trump's ability, if he is occupying the White House, that is to say, if he is president and he has a Senate from his own party, a Senate dominated by the Republican Party, then he will be able to push through a lot of legislation and a lot of appointments much, much more easily. As it is, I think the control of the Republican Party on the process of policy formulation is very strong. The House of Representatives is largely controlled by them. And if the Senate is also under their control and the White House is occupied by the Republicans, the Republican Party will be absolutely decisive in regard to policy formulation and policy implementation. His policy implementation will not be challenged now.
Okay, and what about his power to end the federal investigations against him if eventually he is the 47th president of the United States?
The presidential pardon. Even if he was in jail and he would have contested the election, there was nothing to have stopped him from contesting the election, even from inside prison. And from inside prison, he could have pardoned himself. So all these cases now go out of the window because the American president cannot be taken to court and he can pardon himself beyond a doubt. So I think all this fear that was hanging over his head, the sword of Damocles that was hanging over his head regarding all these court cases, I think all that comes to an end. But frankly, we are saying that he's won. He's close to victory.
Yes, he's close to victory.
The results are not yet final. The thing is still going on. He is ahead. I don't know whether you have an update.
Yes, Fox News is the only network right now who is saying, Fox News is the only network right now saying that Donald Trump is headed to become the 47th president of the United States. The Edison research poll done by Reuters is suggesting Kamala Harris behind at 194 and Donald Trump with 246. So yes, there is, again, we know that Trump is headed to the convention center. Maybe he's also waiting for a little more time so that he can give his victory speech or, address the supporters there. Coming back to this campaign, the exit polls, Trump has also apparently managed to persuade black voters to defect from the Democrats because that's what is evident in the swing states. A word on that.
Well, one reason for that is employment and another one is inflation, because the black community is by and large working class. It is the lower segment of American society, and a constant rise of living affects the interests of the black community very directly. And that is why it seems that many of the prominent members of the black community were speaking out in favor of Donald Trump, because after all, the economy is very, very significant. And whether you're black or you're white or you're Asian or whichever race you belong to, if the cost of living is rising, it hurts you. And for this reason, the Democrats were losing the support of the black community because they were being perceived as having been incapable of arresting price rise and controlling inflation. This has been certainly a serious factor which has impacted the chances of Kamala Harris.
So Donald Trump moving closer to win the US presidential elections 2024. So Harris has postponed her speech, but of course she would have to address her supporters at some point, either tomorrow or daytime in the United States. But Donald Trump is headed to the convention center at the Palm Beach due to speak in Florida. And of course, the swing states, the results are trickling in. Georgia, we know, has gone in favor of Donald Trump. Pennsylvania also showing a lead for Donald Trump. So coming to you again, Prabhudealji, should Kamala Harris lose, she'll not be able to make history as the first US woman president and would follow Hillary Clinton's footsteps. What does that do, if anything, for the American woman or the election of women presidents in the US in the years ahead?
Well, this is the second time that things came very close to a woman becoming the president. Hillary Clinton was tipped to be the president. In fact, she won the larger content of the American vote base, but she lost the electoral college seats, because that's the way the American system works. You can win the majority of votes but lose the electoral college votes, and she failed to become the president. And this time too, because the race was very tight, it was being speculated whether Kamala Harris would become the first ever woman to be the president of the United States. But it seems that it's not going to happen. Let me also say, the bulk of the white community in the United States is very color prejudiced. They have an instinctive feeling that white people are superior. I have seen it firsthand. Even when President Obama became the president, then somebody, and I have read the piece, mentioned in a group which had a number of white ladies that, see, there is now a black president that America has. So there was a white lady who immediately said, no, but his mother was white. So you see, there is this sense of racial prejudice which doesn't go away. That may have been one factor. Kamala Harris had a Jamaican father and an Indian origin mother. Certainly, that could have worked. I'm not saying that it certainly was a factor, but when we indulge in analysis, we see what could have been the possible factors. Certainly, this could have been a possible factor, the racial prejudice which exists within the white community. Then again, history was almost made when somebody who had Indian genes was going to become a president, but that is, it seems now that the victory is going to be snatched away, because Donald Trump is now extremely close, and in many of the states where the results are yet to be declared, he's leading. And as I said earlier, while it was being said that the swing states could go either way and that some would vote in favor of Harris and some would vote in favor of Trump, it seems that all the swing states have gone in favor of Donald Trump. So this factor has definitely affected whatever chances Kamala Harris had of becoming the first ever woman president of the United States.
So Donald Trump inching closer to victory. This is what the election breaking we are tracking. American networks calling in the US election in favor of Donald Trump. Fox News projected that Republican Donald Trump has won the US presidency, defeating Democrat Kamala Harris and capping a stunning political comeback 4 years after he left the White House. So, Prabhudealji, in any way, he is making history, becoming the first president in more than 100 years for having a non-consecutive term in office.
Yes, indeed. He's making history. But where did you pick up this news that already it has been announced? Which channel
It's
or
Fox
which?
News and DDHQ which are declaring Donald Trump as the winner.
Okay. Of course, Fox News is a pro-Republican channel. I don't know what CNN has said. CNN has leanings towards the Democratic Party. So let us see when the results actually get announced. And I must say, you referred to the fact that while Donald Trump is heading for the convention center,
Yes.
I read in the US media that he is a very superstitious person and he will not make any statement in the nature of a victory statement unless it is officially announced, because of the fact that it shouldn't become a case of the slip between the cup and the lip. So he's very careful, he's conservative, and that's why I was anxious to know, where have you picked up this news? And you said it's on Fox News and the DDHQ.
DD Decision Desk, yes.
Okay. But I must say that the final outcome of the election has to be officially announced. And I don't think that is going to take much time. We are very close to it, because even by the accounts given by other news agencies like Associated Press, he's already reached 248 and he's leading in quite a few others, in quite a few of the states. So the gap between the target which he must reach and where he has already reached is very slight. He's already leading in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, he's leading in Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, and also in Alaska, incidentally. So it seems that he will be at that figure of 270 very soon.
Yeah, so other media outlets are yet to call the race, but here we see on our screens pictures live from Florida, where expectant faces, supporters of Donald Trump, hoping to see him anytime soon at the convention center. The crowd is cheering there, USA, USA. And another person who is jubilant at the moment is Elon Musk. He has tweeted on his handle, "Let that sink in." Of course, the Republican camp very excited, and what we are going to see in some time from now, a victory speech probably by Donald Trump here. He has already won the swing states of North Carolina and Georgia and holds leads in several others, according to Edison research of Reuters that we are tracking at the moment. Let me also now take a moment to welcome Rajiv Nayanji back on the show. Rajiv ji, how do you see the picture? Is Donald Trump going to become the 47th president of the United States?
I think so, because as you rightly pronounced that he has already got 248 seats and he is leading in Pennsylvania, which has got about 19 votes, not about, it has got 19 votes. So, and I checked, out of 67 counties, Kamala Harris is leading only in 7 or 8 counties. So it means, and she is losing votes even in many of the counties in which Biden had won last time in 2020. So it means she is losing votes in Pennsylvania. It is not a very positive sign for her, and she has to really catch up. And it doesn't seem so, because in almost 95% of the votes, more than 95% of the votes have been counted in those counties where she is very strong. So it means that the chance of catching up is also not very bright, but very high. So I think this factor is also going against her. So the moment Trump takes 19 votes, means he will be reaching about 267 seats. And just now in mine also, his candidate has won, and there is a split vote in Nebraska and mine, where two districts elect two different candidates. So generally in the states, what happens, like if you are getting votes, in general, like in total, you elect electors. These electors in these two states, and in Nebraska situation is a bit different. Now there also there is a split. So Kamala Harris has also one candidate has won one, but yeah, Republicans is also doing quite well there. That's why you got from 246 to 248 you found there. So they means 67, and in other places also in Michigan it was tight, but now he is coming up. In Arizona again the race was close, but yeah he's surging ahead in other states also. So I think that we should.
In Nevada also he's ahead, in
No,
Pennsylvania.
he was quite ahead. Oh, he was so he was garnering more than 70% of votes of whichever one. There were only not many votes were counted, but whatever was counted there, he was quite way ahead in Nevada also. So that is the situation.
Okay, coming to you, Prabhu Dayalji, according to exit polls, Trump was showing greater strength with male voters of color and with voters under 45 compared to 4 years ago. How do we explain this?
As I said, certainly the rise in the cost of living has influenced the thinking of voters. And if colored voters are now coming out more strongly in favor of Donald Trump as against Kamala Harris, I think that they feel that the Biden administration, of which Kamala Harris was a very important part being vice president, that the Biden administration has failed to bring down prices. It has failed to improve the housing situation. It has failed to check illegal migrants from coming into the country because they affect the job situation very directly. And therefore, this failure has made them revise their attitude, their approach, and therefore, while they voted 4 years ago in favor of the Democratic Party, they are now turning towards the Republican Party, and they probably voted in favor of Donald Trump. But I must say that within each community, whether it's the black community, the Asian community, or the Indian American community, there are divisions in the sense that not everybody votes in one way. The Indian American community, I've known very directly.
Okay.
And I know that a substantial number of Indian Americans also support the Republican Party, though traditionally they have been supporters of the Democratic Party. So the communities, whether it's the black community or other colored communities, they are getting somewhat divided, and they think about their voting preferences according to the current situation. And now the current situation in the United States has certainly been affected by the rising cost of living, the high inflation, and certainly that has affected the voting behavior of people.
Okay, Kamala Harris was hoping that some last votes could turn the tide, but now in election breaking news that we are tracking, that she will concede the loss tomorrow. And of course, as we are seeing voters in supporters of the Democratic camp in a bad mood, and of course they haven't seen the results going their way for now. Let's give you the latest on the election results. 265 is what the Donald Trump camp is holding versus Kamala Harris's 194. This is according to Edison Research of Reuters. So Kamala Harris to concede tomorrow. So is it Rajiv Nayanji anti-incumbency which Kamala Harris is facing right now? The effect of anti-incumbency?
Partially, yes, but there are many other factors also. And Trump, I must say, outsmarted Kamala Harris campaign. She took a great lead when Biden was the presidential candidate. He was just faring miserably, disastrously there. But thereafter she took over, and after she took over, then things started improving for Democratic Party, and it was a great surge for her. And the way she managed things, it appeared that she had done her homework quite well. and she was moving ahead. But it seems in last 1 month, 3 to 4 weeks, what has happened? There were Republicans re-strategized quite well, and they understood that instead of just debating with Harris on television channels, they decided to go to the people, and they did the survey quite well. And they tried to understand, read the pulse, test the pulse of American people, what they want. And after they concluded that okay, economy is a big factor, so it seems focused on that. Just now someone told us that yes, lifestyle, standard of living, cost of living, all these factors were played up by Trump and his campaign managers, and they, you may say, overplayed or somehow highlighted the perils of illegal immigrants, illegal migrants coming to America, United States, or you can say that economy not doing well, economy affecting getting affected because of the wars in which America is unnecessarily involved in, especially Ukraine and Russian war. So all these factors, it seems, went against Kamala Harris. I will not say just incumbency, anti-incumbency factor, but other factors. She had her own strong points, where it appeared that she would do well, and she has done well. It is not that she has not done that well. But yeah, Trump has, as I told, he somehow oversmarted her. He re-strategized in the first presidential debate. You find that he appeared losing badly, but later on he somehow regained his lost ground, and the lost ground, now we see the results, and it appears that, or it seems, or indications, whatever you like to call it, it appears that he is on the path and to become the next president of the United States.
Okay, Prabhudayal ji, in a first, now this is data from Edison Research, exit polling data. Self-identified independents are accounting for a larger share of voters in Tuesday's US presidential elections. So the independent share has stood at 34%, and compared with 34 again for Republicans, but 32% for Democrats. So in a high voter turnout, when your share is, as Democrat, it's your share is declining in the populace, it's a great reason for worry, isn't it?
Yes, certainly. But, by and large, we have seen over the years that America is a two-party state, two-party dish. In Britain, there is a third party, the Liberal Party, apart from the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, which gets a substantial number of seats. But, the independents don't have very much in the...
Okay, in election breaking, sir, here, US House Speaker Johnson has now said Donald Trump is now our president-elect.
I said it was going to happen very soon, yeah.
Yes. So, Donald Trump, again, still needing... but of course, the final seal of approval will take some time. Yes, Prabhudayalji, continue.
Well, earlier in the program, we were discussing that now there will be a Republican president. The Republicans have a majority in the House of Representatives. And in the recent elections which have taken place, while the results have not been announced, but it seems that the Republicans will be able to increase their majority in the House of Representatives. In the Senate, they are once again winning back the majority because the recent Senate elections have gone in their favor. So we will now have a situation when the Republican Party will be in the White House as well as in both houses of the US Congress. This seems a very, very likely possibility. And therefore, the sort of capability, the ability of Donald Trump to make decisions in regard to appointments in particular will become very, very important, because if the Senate was controlled by the Democrats, then they would have obstructed appointments made by him. But if you recall, in his previous administration, he had made a lot of appointments, for instance, to the Supreme Court, and that led to his being able to enforce his will in regard to very important matters. I referred earlier to the Roe versus Wade case, which pertained to abortion, and the fact that these conservative judges in the US Supreme Court took a view alongside Donald Trump. There's a food coming. Yes, because these conservative judges took the same view as him. The Roe versus Wade decision of the Supreme Court, which was long-standing, was overturned. So Donald Trump will now be able to influence policy making very, very decisively because of the fact that it seems both houses of the US Congress will be controlled by the Republican Party.
Yeah, Rajiv Nayanji, your take on this breaking news. US House Speaker Johnson saying Donald Trump is our president-elect now, and he says House Republicans stand ready and prepared to immediately act on Donald Trump's America First agenda. Close early calls being made. Of course, the seal of approval on the results yet to be made.
Yes, indeed, it is basically a political statement. Supporters of Trump are making statements. Elon Musk had also made this statement just a few hours ago or a couple of months ago, even before counting is completely done or he had won them. But indications are towards that yeah, he may be elected as the next president of the United States, or president-elect, what the term is being used by Johnson, which is coming on your screen. So I think it is looking like, because in most of the swing states, more than 80%, 90% of votes have been counted, and he is leading, and he has almost crossing the margin of error, means he has taken a good lead, means around 3%, somewhere more than that. But the trend, the most important thing is the trend. And the trend is that he is consolidating his gains, which he had made. And in Pennsylvania, if he really wins, then it's all over. Because in other places also he is going to grab some seats. So it is almost we are waiting for the next president to take over in January. And this time we don't have January 6th kind of situation in the United States when he asked for insurrection. He had asked people to revolt. So this time we are not going to witness that. And Americans will be at least somehow taking solace, they're taking consolation that yes, American democracy is not badly tarnished as it had been done last time. And this was a smooth transition. I'm sure, as you are giving the breaking news that tomorrow Kamala Harris will be conceding her defeat, and then it will be a different term for Donald Trump, and he will be leading the United States and to an extent even leading the world. So has got say in global affairs. No one can deny that. Even worst critics of America will say that America somehow hegemonizes or whatever terms are used. But yes, the world will be a bit different. There is no doubt about that. Now we can expect many things happening all over the world. You can have a different outcome in West Asia. They call it Middle East. You may have a different European security. You may have a different alliance system emerging, a different world order coming up, a different rules being pronounced, institutions being restructured. And so no doubt about that. And an American economy hopefully doing well, as he has promised. So yes, this is what.
Would you agree, Prabhudealji? World will be a bit different under Donald Trump's presidency of the United States?
Well, certainly the presidency will impact the world. we discussed earlier on in the program before Mr. Rajiv Nayan had joined that America counts for a lot. You know, America is a very powerful country in terms of its clout, in terms of its ability to influence what happens in other parts of the world. And certainly there will be some changes in regard to American policy on vital issues. For instance, Donald Trump is not in favor of continuing to send weapons to Ukraine. And he has said that he will bring about an end to the Russia-Ukraine war. So certainly he will pressurize Ukraine to go in for a peace settlement with Russia. And to make that happen, he will pressurize NATO to drop the idea of including Ukraine among its members and to end Russia's opposition to NATO's boundaries extending to the Russian frontier. So he will certainly, because Donald Trump has been very tough on NATO in the past also, he had threatened to withdraw. And then he stayed on the condition that NATO makes sure that all its members pay their subscription, because many NATO members were not doing so. So as it is, he has the ability to hold the sword of Damocles over NATO. And if he is able to throw his weight on this matter and get NATO to drop the idea of including Ukraine, if he tells Ukraine that we are not going to send you any more weapons, then certainly the Ukrainian ability or desire to fight the Russians will come to an end, and that's what Russia wants. So there will have to be some give and take. Maybe he will persuade the Russians to vacate the Russian-speaking parts of Ukraine, which are under Russian occupation. I don't know whether the Russians will agree to Crimea or not, because that happened long ago, the Russian occupation of Crimea. But he will try and make sure there's some give and take. And the Russia-Ukraine war, which is something that nobody wants to see continuing. Everybody wants an end to the Russia-Ukraine war. So I think, for instance, Donald Trump will try to make that happen. Then in our own neighborhood, you know, Donald Trump is going to be much more tough on China than the Biden administration was. For one thing, he has said that he is going to hike tariffs on Chinese products because he is opposed to China flooding the American market in this manner.
Okay.
And
Okay, I would like to interrupt you there, Prabhudealji. Donald Trump is there at West Palm Beach, Florida Convention Center there. And of course, jubilant Trump now will make probably a victory speech. Let's go live now.
okay.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, no doubt I love this land. God bless
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Very proud of that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And, winning the popular vote was very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this very large room with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much. And in those cases, every one of them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races, and I mean, the number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And We did tele-rallies. We did tele-rallies with each one of them, and sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. And it also looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady. Who has the #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe that? Oh, no, she's done a great job, works very hard to help people. So I just want to thank her. But I want to thank my whole family, my amazing children, and they are amazing children. Now, we all think our children are amazing. Everybody here thinks their children are amazing, but that's a good thing when you think they are. But Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, Barron, Laura, Jared, Kimberly, Michael, thank you all. What a help. What a great help. My father-in-law, Victor, is tremendous, and we miss very much Melania's mother, Amalia. We miss Amalia, don't we, huh? She would be very happy right now, standing on this stage. She'd be so proud. She was a great woman, that one. Beautiful inside and out. She was a great woman. I want to be the first to congratulate our great, now I can say, Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance. And his absolutely remarkable and beautiful wife, Usha Vance. And he's a feisty guy, isn't he? You know, I've said, go into the enemy camp. And you know, the enemy camp is certain networks. And a lot of people don't like to, sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay. Which one? CNN, MSDNC? He'll say, all right, thank you very much. He actually looks fine. He's still like the only guy I've ever seen. He really looks forward to it, and then he just goes in and absolutely obliterates them. Say a couple of words.
Wow. Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America. And under President Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the greatest economic comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Thank you very much. He's turned out to be a good choice. I took a little heat at the beginning, but he was, I knew the brain was a good one, about as good as it gets. And we love the family, and we're going to have a great 4 years, and we're going to turn our country around, make it something very special. It lost that little thing called special. We have to make it so. We're going to make this so great. It's the greatest country and potentially the greatest country in the world by far, and right now we're going to just work very hard to get all of that back. We're going to make it the best it's ever been. We can do that. If we had to wait longer, I don't know. It was going bad, and it was going bad fast. We're going to have to seal up those borders, and we're going to have to let people come into our country. We want people to come back in, but we have to let them come back in, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris, the job you did. Susie, come here. Come here, Susie. Chris, come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The Ice Maiden, we call her the Ice Maiden. Come here, Chris. Come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay in the background. She's not in the background. Come here, say something.
This wasn't expected, but I just want to thank, obviously, President Trump for this journey. It was a great one, and he's a hell of a candidate, and he's going to be a hell of a great 47th president. And this team that we had, the best team, and, of course, even my boss, Susie Wiles, the best. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Susie. Look at her, she's shy. I've never seen her be shy before. Susie. They're great. Everybody up here is great. Everybody up here is very special. But the Trump, who did you say? Oh, let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. Now he's an amazing guy. We were sitting together tonight. You know, he spent 2 weeks in Philadelphia and different parts of Pennsylvania, campaigning. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and I saw that rocket, and I saw it coming down. I saw it. When it left, it was beautiful, shiny white. When it came down, it didn't look so pretty. It was going 10,000 miles an hour, and it was burning like hell. I said, what happened to your paint job? He said, we've never made a paint that could withstand that kind of heat. And but I saw it come down and turn around. And it was, you know, it's like 22 stories tall, by the way. It looks a little smaller than that, but it's big. And it came down, and you saw that fire burning. And I'm saying, only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon. And I tell the story. I told it last night. I had a man on the phone. I had the screen muted, no sound. I was talking to a very important man, happens to be here. And that very important guy, one of the most important people in, I would say, the country, actually. But, you know, I was president, and now it looks like I was going to be maybe president again, so I figured I could ask him to hold. So I asked him to hold. And especially because you're going to be president again, they hold. So I took the phone down, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing this crazy thing that's going around and coming down. It looks like it's going to crash into the gantry. And I said, oh, no. And I said, do me a favor, do you mind holding for a couple of minutes? I want to see this. I thought it was a space-age movie or something. I put the phone down. Bad part, I didn't pick it up for 45 minutes, and he was holding. But this spaceship came down, and I saw those engines firing, and it looked like it was over. It was going to smash. And then I saw the fire pour out from the left side, and I put it straight. And it came down so gently, and then it wrapped those arms around it, and it held it. And just like you hold your baby at night, your little baby. And it was a beautiful thing to see. And I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No, nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon. That's great. And you know, when we had the tragic Hurricane Helene, and it hit North Carolina, they were really devastated, the water. This was a big water, as big as we've ever seen, water hurricane. It built lakes out of nothing. Fields became lakes, and the danger was unbelievable. And the people from North Carolina came to me and they said, would it be possible, at all possible, for you to speak to Elon Musk? We need Starlink. I said, what's Starlink? It's a form of communication. So I called Elon, and I'll tell you what, he had, and it was very dangerous. People would die. They had no communication. All the wires were down. I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon, you have something called Starlink. Is that right? Yes, I do. What the hell is it? He said, it's a communication system that's very good. I said, Elon, they need it really, really badly in North Carolina. Can you get it? He had that there so fast. It was incredible. So, and it was great. It saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives. But he's a character. He's a special guy. He's a super genius. We have to protect our geniuses. We don't have that many of them. We have to protect our super geniuses. I want to thank some of the guys. You know, we have up here today the U.S. Open champion. He's a fantastic golfer. He's slightly longer than me. It's a little bit longer than me. Just a little bit. Bryson DeChambeau is up here someplace. What happened to Bryson? Where is he? Bryson. Oh, he was shot. He's hitting balls. Oh, he's on the way. He's hitting balls. Bryson. Oh, look at him. He's got a great career going. Great U.S. Open, Bryson. That's a fantastic job. And we also have a man, Dana White, who has done some job. He's a tough guy. So Dana started UFC. And came to me, do you mind if I use your... Nobody wanted to give him a rinse because they said it's a rough sport, a little rough. And I helped him out a little bit, and I went, and they said, this is the roughest sport I've ever seen, but I began to like it, and he loved it, and nobody's done a better job in sports. And you know, he's a very motivational kind of a guy, what he does. He gets these fighters, and they really go at it, and it's become one of the most successful sports enterprises anywhere at any time. It's doing so well. I'd like to ask Dana just to say a couple of words because people love to hear from him. Dana,
please. Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hard-working man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family. I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelk boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bustin' with the boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan. And thank you, America. Thank you. Have a good night.
That is a piece of work. No, he's really an amazing guy. But most of all, I want to thank the millions of hardworking Americans across the nation who have always been the heart and soul of this really great movement. We've been through so much together, and today you showed up in record numbers to deliver a victory like like no other. This was something special, and we're gonna pay you back. We're gonna do the best job. We're gonna turn it around. It's got to be turned around. It's got to be turned around fast, and we're gonna turn it around. We're gonna do it in every way, with so many ways, but we're gonna do it in every way. This will forever be remembered as the day the American people regained control of their country. So I just want to say that on behalf of this great group of people, these are hard-working people, these are fantastic people, and we can add a few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He came in. And he's going to help make America healthy again. And now he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but Bobby, leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. Bobby, stay away from the liquid gold. Other than that, go have a good time, Bobby. We're going to be paying down debt. We're going to be reducing taxes. We can do things that nobody else can do. Nobody else is going to be able to do it. China doesn't have what we have. Nobody has what we have. But we have the greatest people also. Maybe that's the most important thing. This campaign has been so historic in so many ways. We've built the biggest, the broadest, the most unified coalition. They've never seen anything like it in all of American history. They've never seen it. Young and old, men and women, rural and urban. And we had them all helping us tonight. When you think, I mean, I was looking at it, I was watching it. They had some great analysis of the people that voted for us. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. They came from all corners, union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American, Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have security. We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally we don't have to use it. You know, we had no wars. 4 years we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time, but we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. But this is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom. Together, we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny. We're going to achieve the most incredible future for our people. Yesterday, as I stood at my last stop on the campaign trail, I'll never be doing a rally again. Can you believe it? I think we've done 900 rallies approximately from them. Can you imagine? 901, something, a lot of rallies. And it was sad. Everybody was sad. Many people, I said, this is our last rally. But now we're going on to something that's far more important, because the rallies were used for us to be put in this position where we can really help our country. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make our country better than it ever has been. And I said that many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. This is a great job. There's no job like this. This is the most important job in the world. Just as I did in my first term, we had a great first term, a great first term. I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous, powerful, and free again. And I'm asking every citizen all across our land to join me in this noble and righteous endeavor. That's what it is. It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try. We have to try. And it's going to happen. Success will bring us together. I've seen that. I saw that in the first term when we became more and more successful. People started coming together. Success is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it. Because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
There's no need to feel down. I said, young man, pick yourself off the ground. I said, young man, 'cause you're in a new town. There's no need to be unhappy, young man. There's a place you can go. I said, young man, when you're short on your dough, you can stay there, and I'm sure you will find many ways to have a good time.
So that was a jubilant Donald Trump addressing the roaring crowd of supporters at the Palm Beach County Convention Center. A lot of key phrases Donald Trump gave at this victory speech. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate, he said. We're going to be paying down debt, reducing taxes, fixing our borders, fixing everything. And what he also said was this is the most incredible political victory in the history of the United States. So Donald Trump set to become the 47th president of the United States. Well, leads suggesting he's ahead, much ahead of Kamala Harris. And what he said that he will be working day and night with every shred in his body for a glorious destiny of the United States of America. Okay, and he thanked his supporters, his support base, the entire campaign, his political consultants there. Of course, he made a mention of Elon Musk. He said a new star is born, and he said that it was a great movement, the MAGA movement, Make America Great Again. He thanked his family, Melania Trump, his support base, and J.D. Vance, also the Vice President-elect, telling that it is going to be the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America. Let's go to our correspondent Anil Thomas, also tracking this victory speech of Donald Trump. Very quickly, Anil, what does this victory mean for Donald Trump? And of course, very important, he made a veiled attempt to what he called enemies. And of course, he was referring to these broadcast networks of the United States of America, some of them.
Good afternoon, Tanvi. Well, very much on the expected lines of speech, the victory speech that Trump has made, though impromptu at many quarters, but clearly indicative of the tone and tenor that he plans to set. 267, 3 short of the magic number of 270 that is needed to cross the line. Things looking good purely from the swing states perspective. Pennsylvania, a big swing state that is managed to pull out. Pennsylvania, remember, is a blue wall, which means that state belongs to the Democrats. Traditionally, Democrats managed to win Pennsylvania, but Trump, the way he's managed to swing 3 big states, 2 swing states here. North Carolina was very much with Trump earlier too in 2020. The 2 swing states that he's managed to pull clearly puts the odds very much in his favors. Though still, Kamala Harris is not out of the race in terms of numbers. She could still sneak in, and I think that's where Trump has stopped short of saying that, though it's a big political movement, he's made all these comments. He's also spoken about his friends, that are very much important in this particular election campaign that he's had, where he's addressed close to over 900 rallies and all that he's mentioned in his victory speech. But it's still one of the, it's a fabulous elections to track for the simple reason, it could still all go down to the wire, but the manner in which he's managed to, come out and deliver that victory speech while Kamala Harris has left it for tomorrow clearly indicates that mood, the tempo that Trump has managed to set, and he's able to take that, he's on that home stretch now. Can he take it home? Can he cross that magic number? Which is the state that is going to now swing for him? Those are interesting things still to look forward in this American elections.
Thank you very much, Anil Thomas, reporting for us on the US presidential elections. So Republican Donald Trump has claimed victory in the 2024 presidential contest. This came after Fox News projected that he had defeated Democrat Kamala Harris, which would cap a stunning political comeback 4 years after he left the White House. A historic non-consecutive term it would be for Donald Trump. So what we have seen today is a fabulous culmination of the US presidential elections 2024. The final numbers will still come in. Donald Trump, for now, much ahead of Democrat Kamala Harris. That's it in this broadcast. We'll be back with more news as and when it comes in. Thank you for being with us. From all of us here in New Delhi, thank you for joining. Namaskar.